Before we begin today's story, take a quick moment to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Every week, we share heartwarming stories about family, friendship, second chances, and the unexpected moments that leave a lasting mark on our lives. If you've ever had a sibling, a childhood memory you wish you could relive, or a simple moment that ended up meaning more than you expected, this story is for you. Now let's begin. When I think about the memories that shaped my life, my mind doesn't immediately go to birthdays, vacations, or major milestones. Instead, it drifts back to a rainy evening in a quiet Ohio suburb. Nothing extraordinary happened that night. Nobody won a championship. Nobody became famous. No life-changing phone call arrived. And yet, years later, it's still one of the most important nights I can remember. It's strange how life works that way. Sometimes the moments that stay with us forever aren't the ones we plan for. They're the unexpected ones. The ordinary evenings that quietly become extraordinary. My name is Emily, and I grew up in a small neighborhood outside Columbus, Ohio. Our street looked like hundreds of other suburban streets across America. The houses weren't particularly large or impressive. Every driveway held bicycles, basketball hoops, and the occasional forgotten skateboard. Lawnmowers hummed on weekends. Dogs barked at passing mail trucks. During summer evenings, children raced between yards until porch lights signaled that it was time to come home. It wasn't glamorous, but it was home. And looking back now, I realize how lucky I was. Our house sat near the end of a cul-de-sac. It had beige siding, blue shutters, and a maple tree in the front yard that seemed impossibly huge when I was little. Inside, the house always felt alive. The television played somewhere in the background. My mother sang while cooking dinner. My father worked on endless household projects he rarely finished. And my younger brother Jacob somehow managed to create noise no matter what room he occupied. Jacob was 3 years younger than me. When we were children, we were inseparable. At least that's how I remember it. Wherever I went, Jacob followed. If I rode my bike, he rode his. If I climbed a tree, he climbed one too. If I built a fort in the backyard, he appeared carrying blankets before I even asked. Sometimes it annoyed me. Actually, if I'm being truthful, it annoyed me often. At 8 years old, having a 5-year-old shadow felt like a burden. At 12, having a 9-year-old shadow felt even worse. I constantly complained. "Mom, tell Jacob to stop following me. Jacob, can't you find something else to do? Why are you always here?" I cringe remembering those words now. Because the truth was simple. Jacob followed me because he admired me. And I was too young to appreciate that gift. Over time, childhood changed. As it always does. I entered high school. Homework multiplied. Sports, projects, social events, and endless responsibilities began filling my schedule. Meanwhile, Jacob started building a life of his own. He joined soccer teams. Made new friends. Discovered hobbies that had nothing to do with me. The distance between us wasn't caused by a fight. There wasn't a dramatic argument. No betrayal. No resentment. Just life. Slowly and quietly. Like two boats drifting apart with the tide. Months turned into years. The easy friendship we once shared became something we mostly remembered rather than experienced. We still loved each other. Of course we did. We were family. But loving someone and spending meaningful time with them aren't always the same thing. Eventually our conversations became shorter. Less personal. More practical. How was school? Fine. How was practice? Good. Need anything? No. Then we'd disappear into separate rooms again. At the time, neither of us noticed how much things had changed. Distance rarely announces itself. It simply grows. One small moment at a time. Then came that Friday evening. An evening that began like any other. And somehow changed everything. My parents had been invited to a neighborhood dinner gathering hosted by close family friends. The event wasn't particularly formal, but it was intended for adults. After some discussion, they decided Jacob and I were old enough to stay home alone. I was 16. Jacob was 13. Old enough to manage a few hours without supervision. At least that was the theory. Before leaving, Mom filled the refrigerator with food and repeated her usual instructions. Don't answer the door for strangers. Make sure the dishes are cleaned. Don't stay up too late. Dinner is already prepared. Dad followed with his own checklist. Lock the front door. Check the back door. Call us if anything happens. And please don't destroy the house. The last instruction earned him an exaggerated eye roll from me. We'll survive, I promised. Jacob nodded. My parents exchanged the kind of look parents always exchange when they're pretending not to worry. A few minutes later, their car disappeared down the street. And suddenly the house felt different. Quieter. Larger. Almost unfamiliar. For a moment I enjoyed the silence. No adults. No responsibilities. Just a peaceful evening. I already knew exactly how I planned to spend it. I had recently started reading a mystery novel that completely consumed my attention. Every free moment found me turning pages. The story was reaching its climax, and I intended to spend the next several hours in my room uninterrupted. At least that was the plan. I grabbed my book and headed upstairs. But halfway there, something caught my attention. Jacob sat alone in the living room. A baseball moved up and down through the air as he tossed it repeatedly toward the ceiling. Catch. Throw. Catch. Throw. The rhythm echoed through the room. His expression looked painfully familiar. Boredom. Loneliness. Restlessness. The kind that makes minutes feel like hours. I paused on the staircase. For a second, I considered continuing upstairs. After all, he wasn't my responsibility. He was old enough to entertain himself. But something stopped me. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was nostalgia. Or maybe it was the realization that we hadn't spent meaningful time together in far too long. Whatever the reason, I turned around. Hey, Jacob. He looked up. Yeah, you look miserable. I'm bored. I can see that. He tossed the baseball again. There's nothing to do. I laughed softly. Nothing. Nothing fun. I leaned against the doorway. For a moment neither of us spoke. Then an unexpected thought crossed my mind. A simple idea. One that instantly transported me years into the past. And before I could overthink it, I said it aloud. What if we build a fort? Jacob blinked. What? A fort? His eyes widened immediately. The boredom vanished so fast it was almost funny. Like we used to? Exactly. For the first time all evening he smiled. And in that moment, neither of us knew we were about to create a memory that would last for years.